Hey everybody, Dauntless here, and welcome back. Today I am going to be making another Space Quest video. This is of course on the second in the series. Now, when this one came out, it looks very similar to the first one in its original EGA form. The puzzles got a little more annoying in cases though, although overall, I think they were still equally as fun, and they didn't seem to have the problem where if you didn't remember something at the start, you would never be able to complete the game. There always was, at least in my opinion, there was more of a chance you're going to run into a puzzle that allowed you to solve it at the time and not have to worry about forgetting something in the past. On the other hand, there was a lot more to do with making sure you didn't accidentally step in the wrong place, which I will demonstrate to you as the video goes on. It's still a great game, it's still amazing, and it's still a fantastic part of my childhood. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, Space Quest 2. Same great classic song. Vohaul's Revenge. Interesting note, if you don't remember, in the first game, when you're looking at the data thing for the star generator, the doctor that was working on it was named Vohaul. As you will recall in our last chapter, you had just foiled the Sariens' fiendish plot to rule this galaxy by using the star generator as their weapon of destruction. You became a hero by saving countless lives and returning the star generator technology into safe hands. Life was beautiful. But heroes come and go, and people soon forget. Your celebrated herodom slowly fades, leaving you, once again, a janitor. The promotion to head janitor was no consolation, especially since you are the only member of the janitorial staff. Nor was the transfer to Orbital Station 4. Sweating like a pork beast in a pressure suit while relocating space debris in a zero gravity just wasn't your idea of a good time. Life sucks again. Well, at least we're near home. I think there might also be a little more actual music in this one, like just sound effects here and there. Oh, right. The main character still does not have his own name. You can still type that in. It's interesting because in the first King's Quest game and the first Police Quest game, you were assigned a name. In Police Quest, you were Sonny Bonds. In King's Quest, you were Sir Graham. So it was kind of interesting that this one, even into its second game, was still requiring you to type in your own name. Orbital Station 4 is one of many orbiting Xenon, your home planet. It is a transfer point for travelers seeking transportation to various planets in the Irnon system. As we begin this chapter of our story, we find you, Roger, ace janitor, doing what you do best. Why would I be cleaning the outside of the ship? I'm just raising the question. It's not like there's a lot of... Well, maybe there's dust in space. I'd have to look that up. A beep emanates from your wristwatch. You release your grip on the broom. Bye-bye. The broom floats away, never to be used again. That makes the third one this week. Wait till your boss finds out. Your horoscope for today. Keep up the good work. Today could bring that big promotion you think you deserve. Don't take any wooden buckazoids. Roger, get in here on the double. You've got a mess to clean up in the shuttle, which just returned. One of the passengers got space sick on the way down. Besides, you should have been down out there an hour ago. Get a move on. With that, the image disappears. Well, fine. Oh, let's set our speed up so I don't end up taking all day. Okay, interesting note, when we were first playing this game, at least according to my parents, because I was too young to remember that too much, we were stuck here for a very, very long time. We were trying to figure out where in the world the door is, until finally somebody was like goofing off and accidentally walked up the wall. Granted, I'm not sure how bright we were at the time, but still, it was just another example of puzzles in this game where you're like, wait, what? Stand by for decontamination. Ah, the classic Roger Wilco spacesuit. You bravely peer into the locker to find a Kubik's Rube puzzle and your athletic supporter. Oh yeah, this is also one of the first ones where you're going to run into more references than anything else. There's a video which you can look up actually that talks about Space Quest. It's kind of a comedy thing that Sierra made, and one of the jokes is that one second, I got to do at least something. One of the jokes is that there are so many copyright infringements when it comes to Space Quest, it's insane, just because of the amount of references they make to copyrighted material. Obviously, I don't think they got sued over any of it, but it is kind of funny to see how many they put in one single game. It's about time you got in here, Roger. Head for the shuttle bay on the double. I'm warning you, you're on your last leg around here, bud. One more screw-up in your history. He then orders the transportation officer to send you directly to the shuttle bay and nowhere else until the job has been completed. You do realize they saved the universe, right? Just, you know. The technicians are seated in front of monitoring consoles. They look like your average crew types. In other words, a few stages above me. Ooh. The shuttlecraft is your standard 10-passenger short commute vehicle. It was primarily designed to ferry people and supplies between orbital stations, Xenon, and other orbiting spacecraft. You'll notice it's slightly reminiscent of the rear section of the Millennium Falcon. Just take off the little thing on the side and make it a little more square. I especially noticed that when I remember my parents talking about that because you get into it through the underside, and I'm not sure how many ships had that back then. You enter the shuttle and start sniffing around for the mess you must clean. You are surprised to find that the shuttle is not empty. There are two extremely ugly suckers walking toward you. Ugly suckers? Hey, what the... Your favorite expletive here. Pow, thwack, bink, thud. I got taken out by Batman! Your protest is cut short as two interstellar ruffians proceed to thump you unconscious. Everything goes black. Time passes. More time passes. A strange dream turns into the realization that you are being shaken and talked to by a voice unfamiliar to you. A dull ache triggers a distant memory of a scuffle in which you were the focal point. Upon awakening from your forced rest, it becomes quite apparent that you aren't in Kansas or Xenon anymore. You find that you are being held upright and under physical restraint from both sides by, you guess, the galactic goons you met on the shuttle. As you try to struggle free, you notice that your hands are tied behind your back. As the eyes dial into focus, you make out an oddly disfigured being seated before you. A sagging mass of flesh that appears to have been human at one time. Tubes and wires extend from his body, leading to machines which keep him alive. Suddenly his visage stirs and he begins to speak. Oh yeah, and in this one the messages are timed, which is a little annoying when you're trying to read them out loud. Well, well, did you have a nice nap? I thought we would have to resort to drastic measures to wake you up. Oh well. Welcome to my humble fortress, Roger. The name's Vohaul, Sludge Vohaul. Huh? I was the genius behind the star generator when it was still in the concept stages. Yeah, except that the guy was Slash Vohaul in Space Quest 1, so this guy is probably a relative. It was to be my ultimate war weapon until some sissy-pants scientists decided it would be better used saving lives rather than destroying them. What a waste of technology. Excuse me if I sound bitter. No, not at all. Anyway, you ruined my Sarien operation. I was going to use the star generator to make Xenon pay for what they did to me. They were going to know my wrath in a big way. You somehow managed to change all of that. Oops, was that me? Oh, I suppose I should have known better than to use those mental midget Sariens. That's not the point, however. You are responsible, and you shall pay. Besides, I have another plan, and you'll not be around to foil it. I have devised a plan so horrible, so frightening, so diabolical, that no one will be able to stop me. Observe my latest creation. Oh dear God. I intend to infest your planet with thousands of these genetically engineered door-to-door life insurance salesmen. I will at least reap sweet revenge from the scientific community that mocked me. My plan was to kill you, but I've had a change of heart. Ha ha ha, get it? He peers down at the hoses protruding from his chest and connected to a life support system. Forgive me, I'm a kidder. Yes. Great sense of humor! I've decided I would get much more enjoyment watching you suffer. My associates will escort you to the surface of Labion, where you will perform many painful hours of manual labor in my mines. Be seeing you. An injection renders you unconscious. Your drugged carcass is loaded onto a shuttle. Upon reviving, you look through the viewing port to see Vohaul's massive asteroid fortress getting smaller. Well, we can only hope, but by the time I get back to it, I can squish it. After touching down on a giant landing platform, you are ushered to a hovercraft waiting to transport you to the mining site. Utter despair sets in. What was the world in Space Quest 6? Urapente. Okay. Interstellar soccer hooligans. That's what they are. Uh-oh. Oh, great! I suppose we're out of fuel. Way to go, Gorf Breath! Don't blame me. It was your turn to fill up. You're always forgetting to do it. Wait till the master finds out. You're in big trouble. Hey, don't talk to me that way, you slime bucket. I filled it up last time, Depp. The argument between the two guards is cut short as gravity reasserts itself. I love the little arrows. Good thing that guard broke your fall. He doesn't look too happy about it, though. Rule number 1 of playing Space Quest? If you said save a lot, you're right. You search the grotesque body and find a small, thin magnetic card. It looks like a key card. You seem to recall seeing one somewhere in the past. I think that might be one of the few times... Oh, you see a little pink guy over there? This might be one of the few times where they actually did, where they actually had you... Possibly you were able to forget something way at the start in this game, but normally you're okay. No, then there's the cubic rube. Yeah, they still kind of did that a lot in this game, didn't they? I was wrong at the start. Sorry about that. You seem to be in a rather exotic forest. The growth here is unlike anything you are used to. On the ground lies the wreckage of the hovercraft you crashed in. Nearby are the bodies of your former captors. The hovercraft has been reduced to a mound of twisted wreckage. Everything that was straight is bent. Everything that was bent is benter. There appears to be no salvageable parts. You hear a high-pitched beep. It seems to be emanating from the wrecked hovercraft. You press the button. The light goes dark, and you no longer notice the high-pitched beep. Okay, so, this is actually one of the most replicated Space Quest games out there, and I'll probably be playing some of the fan-made, like, in-between games. But, basically, the idea of this world here... Suddenly, from somewhere to the east, you hear a twang, followed by a high-pitched shriek. The idea of this game, where you have this lush forest world and everything, is like... It's in almost every single one of them. I don't know why people wanted to use this particular aspect of Space Quest so much. It's only literally in this game where you have this kind of world. But people decided to use it quite a bit, even to the point where in some they kind of copied over images. The little creature caught in the snare has thick-looking pinkish skin. He looks to be less than a meter tall. He doesn't seem too thrilled with his predicament. There you go, little guy. Away you go. Before disappearing through the tiny hole in the brush, the little creature gives you a long glance. Well, fine. And instead of having to type look around, you can type look. So they did update a few of the commands and stuff as well. You are in a strange-looking stand of woods. Which personally I appreciate, because having to figure out, you know, all the commands is kind of annoying. The mailbox looks typical for a mailbox. There is a slot, a tray, and a sign. Alright, I think they automatically give you the order form. I say as I type in commands haphazardly. You drop the order form into the box. The mailbox hums and buzzes for a while. Then an object of some sort drops into the tray at the base of the box. The machine goes silent. The tray is actually a small indentation in the lower part of the machine. Excuse me. It is currently bearing what looks to be a whistle. Okay. And I could literally just jump off there, but I'm gonna be smart about this. Whoa, whoa. Okay. You don't die to these, they just knock you out. The ground looks like everywhere else, with the exception of some growths which look like spores or pods. You take possession of one of the spores, being careful not to mistakenly break it open. There we go. Okay, so I mentioned before that this one had more puzzles about trying not to step on the wrong thing. Well, I don't think I need to explain much about this one. Don't touch the little vine things. Let's see if I can do this. Oh my god, I hate that. And this is also... Oh! Here, I'll just show it to you. You've succeeded in establishing contact with one of this planet's life forms, and it looks like you'll get to examine it up close and personal. The giant root-looking thing is giving you a guided tour of its digestive system. Well, very nice. It's a very nice digestive system. What you experience next is too horrible to describe. Let's just say that you die as a result. You are dead. Trust me. It may please you to know that during the night you didn't digest well. For a while, gastric distress made it extremely unpopular with the other root monsters. Way to go, Wingnut! Once again, you've demonstrated your inability to sustain life. You quickly glance around the room to see if anyone saw you blow it. Thank you for playing Space Quest 2, Roger. You've been swell to watch. Have a nice day. Alright. This is a part where I do want to lower the speed down just a tad. Because you can die so much. Nope, don't restore! Crap, that would have been bad. Excuse me. Oh, you would not believe how long it took just to get that one little corner. Like that, right there I just went through that curve. It's actually much more difficult because you got to keep your eyes open as to where exactly your character's feet are. This is another part that's just, oh my goodness. Okay. This one will have you saving more than anything else. Now, if you're really talented, unlike me, you could get through this without ever actually stopping. But I don't think I've ever done that before. Maybe once when I was, like, playing this game over and over and over. And if you think that's fun, you have to go through the whole thing backwards now. Stupid Scott Murphy. I'm going to save because I'm not even sure if my feet are in the right place. There we go. Yay! Okay, that's right. Walk this way. Up a little bit. No! Oh! I slept! Well, no, that never happened. You didn't see that. Oh my god. That was close. Oh, crap. I can do it. I can do that! Okay. Whew. Oh, man. Hey, you know what? Let's save again. Okay. Oh my goodness. So close. I can do it. Let's see if I can get out of here without dying. Ah! You even get a point just for doing that. I think it's got to be the first time when you get a point in Space Quest just for walking somewhere in the same map. Alright, back to fast speed. And I'll just save since I can. Let's see, am I missing anything? Nope, don't need anything there. I think I'm okay. Alright. I'm not sure how long my last video was. This one might... And again, timed. You have to be able to type quickly. So if I wanted to know what in the world he was doing... Oh, sorry, bumped it there. If I wanted to know what he was doing, I would have had to say, look, man, instantly. And if I don't, I would totally miss it. I could kind of ascertain what he was doing there. 1 second. Just by looking at him. But, of course, the animations in this game are... They're good, especially for the time. But... how are you really going to tell what that was? He looked like he was having a seizure, honestly. But what he was doing was rubbing the berries on himself. You rub the berries all over your body. You now smell like a walking ammonia inhalant. Okay. This is also a reference to Star Wars. Yuck! This is a reference to Star Wars, by the way. Specifically the part in Dagobah where there was the monster and it eats R2-D2. You feel something slimy clamp down on your leg and almost as suddenly spit you back out. You distinctly hear the sounds of aquatic gagging and retching. Evidently, you had a bad aftertaste from the berries. And there it is. Alright, carrying on. Oh, right, I can't go through there. Ew. No, I am missing something. I'm sorry. I know what I'm missing here. You have stepped into a deeper area of the swamp. You are forced to swim. Okay, so here's an interesting one. Wording is very important in this case. I could type dive, and the guy would just dive. But unfortunately, that doesn't necessarily mean he took a breath. So you actually have to say, take breath. Hold breath. You take a deep breath, filling your lungs to near bursting, and head for the depths below. And if you don't do that, you're more than likely going to drown before you get to the other side of this. And again, there's some clipping here with like little pieces of the cave that you will get hooked on without using the if you don't use the diagonal keys. A glowing gem gently spreads light throughout the cave. Ooh, gem! Once again, you wisely take in a load of air and head below. Let's see. Up, 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 up. Get me out of here! Alright. You may notice I have water this time. You have gotten out of the deep spot and are back on your soggy feet. So yeah, now that I think about it, there is a lot of stuff that you have to pick up. Where am I? Oh, there I am. And stuff in the very start. I guess I hadn't... This is probably the one I've played least out of all of them. I played the first one because the first one was a classic. I played the... and I also loved kind of the setting and everything. I liked 3 because of the story. I loved 4 most of all. And 5 had some great settings too. But this one was not necessarily my favorite. You're in a lightly forested area. A large fissure nearby seems to lead straight down. This tree is dead and seems to be free of the slick secretions some of the others generate. You begin to shinny your way up the snag. Crack! Oof! Holy log gems, Batman! You almost ate the big one. Yikes! You've been snared. Suspended above the ground, you are unable to move freely. Excuse me again. I gotta stop doing that. After a while, the cerebral fireworks begin. Capillaries begin to burst under the strain. You pass out. Once again, time passes. And then some more time passes. While unconscious, you have the strangest of dreams. You imagine that your name is Larry. You are wearing something known as a leisure suit, apparently made of 100% synthetic materials and proven to generate large amounts of static electricity. While prowling around a locale known as the Land of the Lounge Lizards, you spent your time badgering women on the area to participate in bizarre mating rituals, such as. Just then, consciousness begins to creep in. A reference to another Sierra game made by the same company and people, I think, Leisure Suit Larry. One that I will not be playing on this channel, by the way. I am going to try and keep this at least a PG-13 channel. Leisure Suit Larry is not PG-13 at all. Your head begins to clear, and you realize that you have been imprisoned. Your captor appears to be that large oaf sitting near the fire. The hunter looks hungry. The hunter seems to ignore you. The hunter stands and takes a long look at your direction. His face, though strange in its own right, bears an expression one might see on a freak show patron. He moves closer. Upon impact with the ground, the spore opens and spews its dust into the air. The hunter falls to the ground, paralyzed. You search the large, not to mention uncleansed body of the hunter. You find a key which might unlock the cage. Other than that, you find only a few assorted parasites clinging to him. You reach to the bars and take possession of the key. This is all timed, by the way. That's why I'm going to type stuff in pretty quick and not, like, mess around with this one. You are at the edge of a forest. The boundary is a sheer cliff at the east side of the area. In the distance you see a landing platform, possibly the one which welcomed you to this strange, lush world. The shuttle in the distance looks like it would have been a nice thing to have right now. So now we know where the landing pad is, so we have to just get there. Whoa! Ho! Ho! Okay. You are in a sheer-sided gorge suspended on a rope between the two rock faces. There is a mammoth member of the local fauna to the right. It looks to be in constant need of nourishment, hence the look being cast on you. I was curious about that grammar there. Save again. Alright. There definitely is more sound in this one than in the other one. I think there was some sound for like the for the skimmer, and there's sounds for like some of the ships and stuff and the doors, but most of the time there really wasn't. Nice. Being as dark as it is in here, there isn't much to see. You do see light coming from the east. That's where I just came from, so no. You take out the gem and hold it in your palm. The room is illuminated by its glow. You hear a small shriek and the sound of many footsteps moving away from you. Well, I am very glad I have that gem. And again, you may notice clipping and stuff like that. I think this one, almost more than any of the others, had that issue. There was a little bit in Space Quest 3, but obviously once 4 came around, you didn't have as much of an issue. The ground below your feet disappears. You tumble down through the darkness. Ugh. That was a rather spectacular entrance. All systems seem to be intact, though. Boinky boink boink. The dwellers mumble something. The translator responds with, "Follow us, Beanpole!" They hurry away. Okay, so You are at the bottom of the steep gorge, almost totally surrounded by impassable rock. There is an opening to the southeast. The walls extend up a great distance. Okay, come on. I'm almost positive I can get one of these rocks. It kind of looks like a boulder dam. Get it? Boulder dam. Sorry, bad joke. Ah. This is where I'm going to get a little confused. Okay, I'm going to hope I am missing something and it is ahead of me. Thankfully, as I said, there's sometimes more than one way to get through puzzles around here.
Welcome to our canyon. You look to be from out of town. On behalf of all of us, I would like to thank you for saving our compadre from the hunters. You're welcome to stay in the canyon as long as you like. When you're ready to leave, simply say the word, and my assistants will show you the only way out for a being of your size. When you leave, however, we must seal the exit behind you for our own protection. Goodbye and good luck.
Well, nice. Thank you. Darn it. Where did I get the dang rock before? Okay, let's do this. Now, I got another one where you're sitting there going, how am I supposed to get out of here? They don't speak, they just giggle. Say what? And this is what we would do. That does not compute. So what you had to do is literally... better. Not a great deal better, but better. Now let's see. Of course, this is an actual maze, so you have to... You could either, memorize what it looks like, write it down, or be like me and know exactly where the exit is. If you're curious, the exit is in the very lower right side of the whole thing, or southeastern, depending on what you would like to call it. Okay. And you want to try and get over in that direction. Okay, let's see. Oh, okay. So this thing right here is interesting. When you see that, it is literally there to tell you, don't go down that way. You'll run into the far side and it'll be a dead end. You go the other way and you get eaten by a cave squid. Okay, that is definitely not good. My memory is failing me. It was the only thing that hadn't. No, let's just keep going this way. Let's see, maybe there's a further way down. Okay, yeah, here we go. Arg! Well, well, folks, this could take a moment. Here we go, we're getting there, we're getting there. Maybe I can go this way. Ah, this is looking better. Aha! Victory! You have an opportunity to stand and spare your tender knees. The crystal clear water gives off a gentle glow. In abundance, it is able to light the room. You take the glowing gem from between your aching jaws. You notice it is overly moist as you slip it into your pocket. That is awesome. This place is amazing. Beautiful subterranean waterfalls and cascades drop before you, filling the air with billions and billions of tiny misty droplets which tickle the cilia. The air is thick with a revitalizing humid freshness. This message is also getting a little thick. Okay. Still not remembering. I know that you can get a rock at some point, but I don't remember where. Ah, which way to go? To the left or to the right? As you enter another of the mysterious subterranean chambers, you realize that the water is now racing toward a giant whirlpool in the middle of the area. You are caught in the strong current, powerless to alter your course. So, there was actually a fan-made version of this game done for VGA, and for the most part, it's not bad. Just do yourself a favor. Don't have the voice acting active. I don't remember if you can turn it off, but if you can, do it. The rest of the game is so well done, but it's marred very badly with really, really bizarre voice acting. Like, none of the voices sound like what they should, especially Rogers. It just doesn't make sense. Especially if you've been raised on like Space Quest 4 and 6, back when they released the sound in those. Roger had a very distinctive voice. It was a very, very generic voice for a very generic type, character. It was kind of what they were shooting for. But then all of a sudden, in the VGA remake of Space Quest 2 that the fans did, all of a sudden it was this very high, fluty voice. So it was just it seemed out of place. Your body is sucked down until finally you are able to resist no more and must yield to the overwhelming force. Ah, bump. Aha! The rock. I remember where I get it. Geez, that was quite a trip. Peering around, you find yourself back in the open again. You are in a pool. It is fed by a waterfall which spews from a strange rock face. An actual face, an ugly one at that. It is carved into the rock. It must be hundreds of years old. Ah, you know what's funny is I almost never saw that. Yeah, there's the tongue there, and the water's coming out right above it. You got the teeth and everything. Oh my goodness. You were in a little clearing, which is surrounded by large boulders and impenetrable brush. There is water in which you entered at the bottom left. You can just see a landing platform in the distance. We're almost there, folks. Now, how would you know that at this point you're supposed to? You give the whistle a toot. It makes an odd sound. You hear an incredible whirring and grinding sound coming from the north. Suddenly, a Labion terror beast buzzes into the room, looking like a tornado, and he looks like he could do as much damage as one. You chuck the Cubic's Rube puzzle over to the beast. The beast appears interested in your offering. Curiosity gets the better of him as he reaches down for it. He seems quite perplexed by the puzzling plastic polyhedron. You pick up a small rock generated during the Terror Beast's grand entrance. Okay, so this is one of the puzzles that has multiple solutions, and I think this is the first one in Space Quest. What I could do is the hard version, which is probably the one that we figured out first. Excuse me. When he goes all the way to one side, I could go and try and sneak around as quickly as I could and get behind the next brush. It's very hard to do, but if you can manage it, you can get all the way up to the top, get behind something, and then yell. He'll look around, and then he'll go into the elevator, come down, and chase after where he thinks the sound is from, which is going to be the wrong way, and then you can get into the elevator behind him. It wasn't until a good time after we beat not only this game, but the entire series, that we figured out this. You cleverly use the athletic supporter to sling the rock at the guard. It makes serious contact with the side of his head. We like the way you think. He drops like a lead parakeet. The right thud of impact is momentarily sickening. He is perfectly still. That was an awesome section of the game. You find nothing. The elevator is nothing spectacular to look at. On the left side is a thin slot. You slide the key card into the slot, then remove it. As soon as the elevator door closes behind you, the platform on which you rest begins to rise. Yeah, that was one of my favorite puzzles when I found out you could do that, because all of a sudden it was literally one of the funniest things I'd ever seen, is you taking an athletic supporter and using it to slingshot this rock into the guy's head. Oh my goodness. And that was like the beginning of some of the strangest puzzle solutions of all time, and they only get stranger from here. All right. Everything looks automatic. The panel is loaded with clusters of system status indicators. There is a power button, an altitude dial, and an ascent thruster button. The attitude dial is now set to VAC. I'm going to assume the V is vertical. Vertical controls are now ineffective. Vertical. Horizontal. Okay. Horizontal for... You think vertical... If this works, I'll be curious. There is no horizontal control until minimum altitude has been achieved. Okay. Okay, so ascent thruster button. Ah, there we go. The shuttle begins to vibrate as the ascent thrusters ignite. And you can pull or push it. Ascent thrusters ready. Attitude system, vertical control, forward and back. Okay. Well, we got off the planet. This actually might be a lot shorter than the first one, which is actually curious because I always thought this one was longer. And again, this was not my favorite of the series, so maybe it just felt longer than the first one. And I'm sorry to anybody who thought that this one, who really liked this one. Don't get me wrong. All these games I thought were really good, but this was just kind of like, I felt this was one of the lower points of the series. Nothing compared to the 6th game, which I'm still probably not going to play because it was so bad. It was so annoying. But it was still better than 6, but still not the best. You're off the planet. Good work, Roger. A tone sounds. A soft synthesized voice notes that adequate altitude has been achieved. Ascent thrusters are now ineffective. The monitor draws your attention again. Minimum altitude achieved. Attitude system, vertical control, blah, 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 blah. The attitude dial is now set to HAC. Another cool thing about the early Space Quest games, especially up till about 4, I think before 5, Roger Wilco's kind of awesome. Like, he's a total slacker beyond all reason, but I almost think it's because he's really bored. Because he can pilot a ship, he shoots a gun, he blew his way out of the I was gonna say Death Star, the Deltar. If you got that reference. Uh, like he was pretty tough. The screens are suddenly splashed with the incredibly horrible image of Sludge Vohaul. Hello, Roger. I've been waiting for you. Once again, my subordinates have failed me. Anyway, it looks like you'll be visiting me again soon. Don't bother trying to pilot the vehicle. I have taken control. You will be arriving at my command post shortly. I anxiously await your arrival. He closes with a chilling laugh. His image is frozen on the screens. The ship changes course as if it had a life of its own. All he can do is hang on. I kind of wish there was a little bit of sound here, though. Like, for the most part, I kind of like the sound in this one. It's not overly, like, there, but there are some areas where I kind of want to have, like, a low-pitched thrum. But that's because I'm spoiled by Star Trek, and every time they're on the ship there, it's always got that nice, low rumble going on. I swear I could sleep to that. You feel the ship bank. My guy's still pushing the throttle. Roger, didn't you listen? Maybe he's trying to get out of the way. Through the window, you see your apparent destination, Vohaul's asteroid. Alrighty then. Fun times. The massive bay doors meet, jarring the entire vehicle bay. As you step down, the shuttle door slams shut behind you. You are quite surprised not to find several of Vohaul's guards waiting to greet you. You begin to ponder what the twisted scientist might have in store for you. Okay, so of all the game, this is probably my most favorite part. And the reason is because this is actually a really cool design for a level in one of these older adventure games. Just, I mean, look at everything here. And it's not just this. There's multiple levels and everything. The buttons look ordinary. Each button has a word next to it. In order, they are 1, 3, 4, and 5. No, 2. And you can do these levels in any order. I gotta start saving on a different spot. You're in a small caps... Oh, this is the... You have the funny feeling you're being watched. This section of hall dead ends. There is an elevator on the back wall and a camera attached to the ceiling. Like, something about all the little panels and everything and the way each corridor is a little different. It's actually... I've always kind of liked it. The windows. In fact, I mentioned before that me and my brother, we would play games where we... Let me do this really quick. Aha! You knew it. You know a janitorial closet when you smell one. Almost at once, you sense an emptiness, a melancholy longing. You begin to feel homesick. Okay, so me and my brother, whenever we would do that thing where we'd draw out a panel or something, and you'd have to choose what buttons to push or something when we were kids, if there was a map or a base or something, even if we were doing the Death Star or something, inevitably there would be a design or a setting a lot like this. In fact, of a lot of our stories and area design and stuff like that for our little bases we'd have each other's characters walk through, and basically you just hold your finger where your character was and say, oh, I want to go over here. Okay, you walk over here. A lot of those were inspired by Space Quest. It's quite dark in here. You do find a plunger, however. Mine. Okay. Good. Okay. All right. I'm pre-preparing commands because as I remember, there is generally stuff that can kill you in these corridors, so you got to pay attention. Okay, so 3 is done. On to 4. 3 is pretty safe. 4 is where I start getting a little bit leery. Got to keep your eyes open. I'm totally saving, by the way. There we go. Oh, I can't get my legs comfortable. I'm so sorry. I'm probably whipping around in front of the camera like crazy, making you all motion sick and stuff. Unfortunately, my videos don't come with barf bags. My apologies. It's quite dark in here. On the floor, you notice a glass cutter. All right. Ooh, the men's and women's bathroom. You have stepped into a porcelain palace of sorts. It is obviously a restroom. A place which, in an interesting fashion, serves to exhibit the physical diversity of the universe. The walls are covered in an easy-to-hose-down synthetic material. Attached to them in various locations are devices designed to effectively collect waste products from the life forms which are able to physically match up to them. On the back wall there are stalls. 3 of them are in use, judging by the various feet which show beneath the stall doors. To the left are sinks. The inside of the stall is a sight to behold. There is writing of various languages etched on the walls. The floor has an interesting coating of some type of congealed dreck. It appears that the toilet may have been white once. A toilet paper dispenser hangs on the wall. Okay. All right. I like the 4-hole one over there. You wonder what kind of alien has 4 buttholes. Oh, and here's another one. If you'll notice, you go into the men's room, right? And there's 2 doors you can exit from. So the men's room and the women's room are the exact same thing. Oh, there it is. Alright. There's an automated floor waxer moving down the corridor. The name plaque reads, The Delato Buffmaster, another fine product from Helmet Master Enterprises. I almost guarantee you that's a reference to something, but I am not sure. And I'm trying to remember if the elevator door... Yep, elevator door stays open. So, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to get in there and let it go by. Because I'm not sure if I've gotten everything on this level, and I want to make sure I'm very, very thorough with this. It can follow me, but I can't follow it. Boy, does that make me uncomfortable. Sledge Vohaul is well ahead in its time. Think about it. He's got to be the first person to have literally a transgender style to his bathrooms. Oh, hey, there it is. Oh, and it doesn't take numbers. You have to type the number out. This is probably my favorite of all the levels in this particular area, in this part of the asteroid thing. You explore all the levels, and yeah. So obviously the lower one is your prison aisle. Well, prison level. Which means you get to see some cool stuff. Like those hands there. The hallways on the level are the same as above, with the exception of some type of cages. An occasional strange noise is heard. The smell here is stifling. Apparently, the holding cells are not well kept. There is a door on the side wall. It's quite dark in here. There is a small wastebasket. On the floor next to it is a pair of crusty work overalls. You pick up the overalls. They are very small and quite worn out, not to mention filthy and of no use to you. You toss them back to the floor. As you set them down, something falls to the floor. Okay, and now there's a lighter. Okay. Aren't you amazed by how much stuff an adventure game hero can carry? You've just got to know how to pack. Especially considering I just shoved an entire waste paper basket into my pocket. Not to mention the plunger. He'll grab at you if you get close enough. BAM! Youch! You feel alarmingly dense. Apparently you are a prime focal point for some aggression channeling by one of the caged creatures. Your compressed position indicates that your attacker possesses considerable strength, a good guide to avoid in the future. Okay, so this is I I am getting so used to saving. I'm back into like my habit of saving every like 5 steps. Uh-oh. Oh no! One of the cells is opening. Who knows what unspeakable horror waits behind those steel bars? It's the alien! It's a dark, prehistoric-looking beast with plastic covering its body. One outstanding feature is a pair of gigantic red lips. You know, I've never tested this before, but does that thing get attacked? Nope, it does not. Oh, crap! Oh, that was close. Okay, so I don't want to do it now because if I, in fact, did let it catch me, it wouldn't kill me immediately. What it would do is kiss you and lay an egg inside of you. Then, right when you're about to win the game, your chest bursts open and you die. And I don't want to have to restore back that far because I don't want to spend that much time backtracking. So, let's just carry on. Someday, once I figure out like some video editing software or something like that, I'll definitely go through this and be a little more thorough on like all the deaths and everything. Specifically because I'll be able to record pieces at a time instead of having to go through it all at once. But for now, I'll have to do it this way. But I will be trying to make sure I get some sort of editing software so I can kind of get everything together. The door behind you closes solidly. This is another puzzle that took us forever to figure out because who would have thought of the solution? A barrier springs up before you. Another barrier stands in your way. You feel the floor shift below you. It's moving to the left. And yes, it is about to do exactly what you're all thinking. And that's acid, by the way. Using formerly uncharacteristic creativity, you apply the suction cup-like plunger to the smooth metal finish and hang on for dear life. Once a janitor, always a janitor. You release your grip and drop back down. Okay, so if I look over here, there are they're neatly indented into the wall. Okay, so I'm going to have to come back. So, to get rid of them, with the lighter I found in the coveralls. And all of a sudden the sprinkler system starts. While receiving a nice hosing yourself, the basket fire is extinguished. Seconds later, a loud series of pops is followed by the smell of fried electronics. Alright! The sprinklers sense accomplishment and cease operation. Sorry, I'm kind of reading really badly right now. Your fire and subsequent shower seems to have shorted out the burnished bullies. Well, thank you very much. Alright. You have just entered Vohaul's secret chamber. The evil one himself is seated before a large console high on a platform in the center of the room. Standing obliviously ready are many of the dreaded Salesmen clones. So, Roger, we meet again. I must say I'm quite impressed with your resourcefulness and tenacity. I'd love to chat, but I'm busy preparing the last of my Salesman clones for their trip to Xenon. Feel free to stick around and observe the downfall of your civilization. Ha 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 ha! These guys are your worst nightmare come true. Imagine hundreds of John Davidsons in magnetically hazardous polyester suits, the color alone capable of rendering helpless the infirm. Topped with permabond hair, the face splashed with that let-me-win-you-over smile, he's a master guiltsmith programmed with one intent. Sell, sell, sell. Each are encased in pre-programmed impervious transport capsules. Oh my goodness. Reminds me of this one vacuum salesman that came up to our door once and my mom answered. And I kid you not, I still remember this clear as day, the guy going,
"Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. You must be the queen of the castle."
Oh my goodness. We were dying laughing about that for weeks afterward. Never, if you're store-to-door anything, never use that as your opening statement. Going somewhere? Ha 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 ha! Ha 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 ha! As soon as you step on the platform, you are struck by a beam of light emitted from a unit in the ceiling. In a matter of seconds, you are broken down into microparticles and extracted from the air. Again the beam strikes, this time blasting a glass jar on the console. It is there that you are molecularly reconstructed in a miniaturized form. Well, I'll be darned. My miniaturization beam does work, Vohaul's voice booms. In the old days, I'd test these things on myself, but as you may have noticed by my appearance, being my own guinea pig has had its disadvantages. I guess this will keep you out of my way once and for all. Oh, my voice. You'll make a nice conversation piece. With that, Vohaul turns away to put finishing touches on Xenon's fate. Remember the glass cutter I picked up before? The newly cut pane of glass falls to the counter. Apparently Vohaul doesn't notice. And he will notice if you go over to the left, which is actually pretty easy to show you. Darn, Roger! I guess his lardness got a little fed up with your meddling. You've been redesigned once again, revealing a permanent overhead view. You reassemble one of those wonderfully colorful mosaics. Excuse me. You resemble one of those wonderfully colorful mosaics commonly found on windshields. It has been a pleasure watching you play Space Quest 2. So... you wiggle your slim carcass through the vent. Judging from those two hoses coming from outside, you guess that this is the Inner workings of Vohaul's life support system. A respirator pumps oxygen into his lungs while a pump on the back wall forces blood through filters. There is also a sign on the back wall. The sign says, "Caution, press buttons for emergency shut-off." Way to go, Roger! You've just disconnected Vohaul's life support system. He's a goner without it. You can see Vohaul struggling to take his last few breaths. "Not you again! You think you have won," he wheezes. "But all you have done is to seal your own fate!" He reaches up and flips a switch on the far end of the console, before dropping to the floor, dead. You are walking on another section of the control console. There's a large switch on the back panel. A keyboard is at your feet. Reduce or enlarge. Alright. And if you reduce yourself, you literally vanish from existence. You are once again reconstituted, this time to the correct size. You notice that the clones are gone. Vohaul's dead, hulking slab of flesh is loosely arranged at the base of the chair. Launch countdown. To abort launch, enter code below. An examination of his repulsively turgid, fabric-encased mass reveals nothing other than the tubes which supplied him with blood and oxygen. You do notice the letters SHSR written on pen on the back of his left hand. Abort granted. Oh, another one where you could literally just fall and die if you don't use the diagonal key. You're walking through a clear, tubular passageway which seems to wind in and out along the outer perimeter of the asteroid. There is a box mounted on the west end of this tube. The box is actually an oxygen mask receptacle. It is currently closed. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed that. Opening the box, you notice it is empty. You close it. Oh, you automatically take the mask. Let's put that on right now, just in case. A section of the glass tubing has fractured from combined stress. The pressurized atmosphere rushes for the relative vacuum of space. Fortunately, wearing the mask protects you from suffocation. No longer needing the mask, you remove and stow it for later. Well, apparently things could be going better. And this is the part where the creature would burst out of your chest if you let the alien kiss you. "40 minutes until meltdown," a synthesized voice cheerfully announces. Since when did that happen? I'm trying to figure that out right now. I'm like thinking in my head, when did we have a core meltdown going? But I'm going to assume it has something to do with... It's a very odd-looking robot, balanced on 2 legs with an odd electrical eye scanning back and forth. On it are the words, Vohaul Meromatic. Huh? I'm going to assume it's going to kill me. Just like everything else in this game. See if I can get in there before the robot gets to me. I think this is how you did it. The robot has apparently decided that it is permissible for you to be here since you are in the pod already. Upon entering the escape pod, you quickly take your seat. You are seated inside one of the emergency escape vehicles. Before you lies a control panel and a viewport. The only outstanding feature on the panel is the clearly marked launch button. Well, that makes things simple. Warning, emergency escape vehicle launch sequence has begun. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Later, losers! Phew! You're going to have to stop cutting these escapes so close, Roger. Well, you must feel pretty good right now. You stopped Vohaul from carrying out his threat of salesman infestation, ultimately destroying the twisted scientist himself. You also managed to save your own skin, and just look at that score. Pretty darned impressive. I think I am missing something, but I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think if you get through the maze, like the pitch black maze, without using the gem, you get extra points. And then I'm sure there's other stuff I missed along the way. Suddenly, a warning signal draws your attention to the oxygen meter on the front panel. It reads low and dropping fast. This is just great. You knew it was all too good to be true. You have maybe 5 minutes of air left. Well, Roger, it was nice knowing you. Now you take the time to view the interior of the pod in more detail. You see a sleep chamber against one wall. You turn back the plexiglass cover. There we go. You make the split-second decision to enter the sleep chamber. It seals automatically. Soon you are overcome by a pleasant drowsiness. This is certainly better than suffocating. You begin to drift away into a deep sleep, with the satisfaction of having accomplished your task. You've come through in the clutch, and you deserve a nice long rest. Now if someone would just pick you up somewhere along the way. So long, Roger, and thanks again for saving your people. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, Space Quest 2. I think this one is shorter than Space Quest 1, and it's definitely nowhere near as long as what came after, because starting with Space Quest 3, these games got much longer, so I'll have to find some longer bodies of time to be able to basically play through the entire thing. But overall, I actually thought it was pretty good. And yes, I'm looking at my score right now. I'm only 5 points away from the top score, and I think the max score, excuse me. And I think that's if you manage to get through that pitch black maze without the gem at all, and you can kind of, if you can traverse it and everything. Outrageously difficult, but if you do it, it's awesome. But thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for dropping by, and please drop your comments in the message area below. If you have any questions or anything, or any comments, feel free. I don't mind at all. And hopefully we will see you next time I drop a video, which will more than likely be Space Quest 3. You have a good day now.